So this morning we're going to have Mr. Andrew Kemp come up, and he's going to share God's idea with us.
Thank you, David. So, I've been coming to church here for about 7 months, and this is actually right around the time that my wife and I had started discussing coming back to church. How many of y'all are fathers in here? Okay, nice portion of the room. We had our first son, right? And as we're talking about this, one of the things that you take for granted is actually that it's easy to conceive, right? So we were like, we'll have a second one in a year, it'll be nice and easy, right? And that was our plan. And as we started going through life, right, with our first son and understanding what Tyron really is, we started looking to the future and like, he definitely needs a sibling so he can wear them out, right? And as we started planning and going through, hey, we're ready to have our second child and trying to conceive, we continued going through our plans and it just wasn't working, right? And there's those moments in life when you can almost feel God smiling. So after 2.5 years of trying to conceive, we weren't able to. And so we had started going to a clinic to get some help and support, and basically came back, hey, nothing's wrong with you, right? And I'm like, okay, what's going on here, right? Thinking of everything that I could do to make things right. What are you doing, right? You get into a little bit of the blaming game. You start questioning everything kind of going on around you. And in those moments, right, Jeremy had talked about this before. You're thinking of, God, you made everything right. There's nothing missing. I don't need to ask you for anything, right? This is all stuff that I need to be doing. And what was interesting is we actually went into the clinic and we had finally made peace with, you know what? God has blessed us financially. We can go through with some of the treatments, right, in order to conceive another child. And whenever we got to the clinic, they do an initial scan and then check to make sure that everything's okay, right? So at that moment, we had finally made peace with, you know what, we're going to pay this money, we're going to have a second child, we're going to be happy, and we're thankful that we have the means to do that. And during this time, my mom, who is probably the most heartfelt person and full of prayer, she spends about an hour or two a morning praying. She had prayed for us like for a week straight and was like, you know what, I'm going to take care of this in terms of taking care of the prayer for you. I'll reach out to my friends in the circle, and we're all going to pray that everything's okay and that everyone's healthy. And so my wife and I had talked through everything and said, okay, we're ready to go through with this. We're at a good point where we can do it. I had prayed that morning, and whenever we arrived for the scan, they put the ultrasound on, and she said, congratulations, you're pregnant. And we looked at each other and we were like, no, we're here to get pregnant. And she's like, no, look, there's the baby right there. And we just looked at each other stunned, and I could just see God in that moment, and he was just smiling and laughing, right? Every father probably knows that moment where your kid's trying so hard, I can't do it, and you're like, do you want some help? No, I've got it, right? And you're sitting there struggling, and then they're finally like, all right, can you help me? And we just stared at each other in that moment, and the only words that I could think of are from Proverbs 16:9, which is, in their hearts humans have planned their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. And it was in that moment that I realized God was working on my patience. And as a father, I definitely had more lessons in that than I would like to admit. And basically, he was waiting for us to be ready to understand what having two is like. So I just wanted to say thank you for everyone for being here, because I think if we hadn't even discussed coming back to the church, we wouldn't have asked him for help in that moment, and we would have endured some hard times. And I appreciate all the things that God has done for us.
God is awesome. God is at work in ways that we cannot explain. In the process of it, He is at work in us. And so thank you for sharing that. And